So most of us, when we think about success, when we think about making it, we're always thinking big. We're always thinking about the huge dreams, the huge aspirations, right? The big accomplishments. But some of us actually forget to think about the small ones, the small increments, the small little steps that are gonna get you closer to that big dream that you have. And I'm not saying that it's wrong for you to dream big, to think big. But what is a problem is that you don't acknowledge and you don't celebrate that 1% that you're moving forward. Because most of us, we like to focus on the big stuff, the big dream. We think that's what matters. But the truth is, that's not all that matters. Hitting that one small goal also matters. Making that small move matters. That one training session matters. One sale a day matters. Making one call a day matters. Whatever industry you're in, whatever 1% you're able to do every single day, that matters too. Because guess what? There will never be a massive impact if all you do is focus on the massive action. Even though massive action is extremely important, don't just focus on the massive action. Focus also on the small action. Focus on the things that not a lot of people see. You see, you don't have to show off all your steps. You don't have to show off all your entire journey, your success, because there will be times where you won't be able to share all of that. There will be times where you're gonna stay late at work, frustrated, angry, not knowing what to do. You'll be lost, you'll be in your head. And guess what? It's not like you can take a picture and post that on Instagram and say, hey, I'm in my head, I'm stressed, I'm near borderline depressed. This isn't something that you're going to do. But guess what? It's gonna be necessary. It's gonna be part of your journey. It's gonna happen at some point, and you have to be ready. But guess what? You going through those emotions, you going through those experiences, that puts you 1% closer. And you have to acknowledge that, you have to celebrate that, you have to be proud of that. Whatever small step you make, one day you learn something new, you do one thing differently. That's all that counts. That you're making progress, and that you're doing more, that you're pushing yourself. Because guess what? You can't make massive increments in just one day, every single day. There will be days though, where you will. Don't get me wrong. There will be days where you'll just make a massive impact. You'll take a massive step forward. But guess what? That's not gonna be every day. There's gonna be days where you just take a very tiny step. And that's okay. That's what I'm here to tell you, that it's okay. It's okay to simply advance 1%. Your bar for the minimum amount of effort should be down here. You shouldn't expect to put 100, 1,000 times the effort every single day, because that's just impossible. You can't perform 100 times better than the previous day, and then the next day you do the same thing, and you're always looking to perform 100 times better than the previous day. Because you won't. Life happens. And there will be times where you're physically not able to, or you're mentally not able to, or who knows, so many things happen in life that may prevent you from making these massive steps forward. And if you really think about it, these massive steps don't just happen randomly. They happen because you've been putting in hours. You've been taking those small steps. And guess what? All those small steps add up. They give you awareness, they give you knowledge, they give you practice, they give you so much intellect that one day you're able to apply all of that intellect, put it together in a bundle, and take a massive step forward. But like I said, that won't happen unless you take those small steps. And there's people out there who haven't even began yet, and they're already expecting to take these really huge steps. And guess what? This is wrong. You can't expect to take these huge, massive steps right from the start, because it's too much. These steps are too huge. You haven't even taken small steps yet. It's like trying to run a marathon when you haven't even learned how to run. You can't even take a lap. You can't even run a mile. If you can't run a mile, how are you going to run a marathon? Sure, a marathon is a massive step forward, right? If you're a runner, you being able to complete an entire marathon without falling to your knees somewhere in the middle, you're able to complete it. That's a massive step forward. And sure, that can be done in one day. But guess what? If you've never ran, if you never started running, you'll never get there. You know how marathoners get there? They train. They get the basics down. You know how they started? Simple. Put on some running shoes and start running out there. And who knows, maybe they only ran for 10 minutes, 10, 15 minutes. That's enough. Then little by little, they started taking one step forward. Maybe let me add 5 more minutes, and then 5 more, and then 5 more. And then who knows, maybe you stop adding time, and then you just do and you change the course. Maybe you make the course a little bit harder. So maybe you've been running 30 minutes for a little while now. Well, now you continue to run those 30 minutes, but maybe you change the course. Maybe the course is a little bit harder now. Now it has uphills, has downhills, it has all sorts of crazy trails. You got to run in the dirt, you got to run in the pavement, or maybe you got to run in the treadmill. There's so many changes, there's so many slight changes, and guess what? All of these are like 1%. You decide to run on the dirt now, that's a 1% difference. You decide to run on a treadmill now, that's another 1%. You're training yourself, you're preparing yourself for this big, massive impact. And that's what matters, that you make that 1%. Make that 1% difference every single day. It doesn't have to be massive. So stop focusing on the big stuff. Sure, the big accomplishments are the ones that get you the praise. These are the things that you can go and show off. These are exactly the things that you can go on Instagram and start posting about them. And it's fun. You get all this validation, you get all this praise. People tell you that you're great, you're awesome, that you're gonna make it in life. But before that, nobody cares. Because very few people actually put any interest into the small steps. Like I said previously, what sounds more exciting? Putting on some running shoes and going to the street and running for 10 minutes? Or putting on some shoes and putting all the gear on, really cool fancy gear, and going and running an entire marathon and finishing it? The marathon is obviously more interesting, more appealing, more exciting. But guess what? They're both just as necessary. For a runner, they can both make a massive impact. And believe me, all that really matters is the passion. So I can assure you that the runner feels the same amount of excitement in both situations, because guess what? Guess what the constant is in both? He is running and he is making progress. Somebody that goes out there and only runs 10 minutes every single day is making far more progress than the person who isn't running at all. Far more of a difference. And sure, it's only 10 minutes. Very small amount. Just 1%. And guess what? He's getting better as the days go by. Maybe he's never ran before, so the first time he runs for 10 minutes, it may feel like crazy. But who knows? Maybe after a month, he's been running 10 minutes a day. The last day of the month, 10 minutes is like no problem. He's owned it. He's mastered running for 10 minutes straight, as opposed to the person who didn't even run at all. You put both of them side by side, you make them run 10 minutes, you put them on a race, guess who's gonna win? The person who's been running for 10 minutes every single day for an entire month. And even though it was such a small amount of time, he still made some progress. So that's what you have to do. Glorify every single step of the process. Don't just focus on the big things. Don't just focus on the massive impact. Also focus on those small little impacts, those small little goals, those small little challenges, the practice sessions. Celebrate all of them, because they will all amount to something later in the future. But you must remain the course. So remember, all that matters is the 1%. Oh fuck.